I never thought I'd be the woman sitting in a hotel room at 67 years old, texting someone who wasn't my husband of 42 years. But there I was, heart pounding like a teenager, feeling more alive than I had in decades. I cooked dinner every night at 6 sharp, kept the house spotless, attended every church function, and smiled politely when people complimented us on our beautiful marriage. What they didn't see was the slow death happening behind closed doors, the way two people can live in the same house for decades and become complete strangers. What happened next shattered everything I thought I knew about love, marriage, and what it means to truly live before you die. He was stable, reliable, everything my parents said I should want in a husband. By 25, I was pregnant with our first child, and my writing dreams got packed away like seasonal clothes, stored in the attic of my mind where I promised myself I'd return to them someday. At 65, I finally decided to dust off that old dream and enrolled in a creative writing class at the community center. We'd stay after class, talking about books and life and all the things we wanted to do, but never had the courage to try. Coffee after class turned into long walks in the park. Shared stories became shared secrets. David saw something in me that I thought was dead forever. He saw the woman who'd dreamed of writing novels, who'd once stayed up all night reading poetry, who'd believed she had something important to say to the world. He told me about his wife, how much he missed her, how he was learning to live alone after 45 years of marriage. I found myself sharing things I'd never told anyone, not even Robert. At 67 years old, I called my husband and told him I was staying at my sister's house. Everything was exactly as I'd left it, perfectly preserved and completely lifeless. 3 months of feeling like myself again, of conversations that mattered, of being seen and heard and valued. 3 months of remembering what it felt like to be alive. When David's daughter convinced him to move closer to her family, we both knew it was ending. We said goodbye in that same hotel room where it all began, and I thanked him for giving me back to myself. It's never too late to choose passion over safety, authenticity over approval, living over merely existing. And I don't regret a single moment of coming back to life. Some people will call what I did selfish, immoral, destructive, but I call it survival. Robert was reading the newspaper at the kitchen table, didn't even look up when I came in. That's when I knew for certain that what I'd done wasn't about David at all. It was about me finally choosing to live. It was the first lie I told in our entire marriage, and it felt like the first honest thing I'd done in years. I'm saying that sometimes the most radical thing you can do is refuse to disappear quietly. Sometimes survival requires revolution, even if it's a quiet one that happens in hotel rooms and writing classes in the secret chambers of your own heart. A 67-year-old woman having an affair sounds like a midlife crisis, like temporary insanity, like something desperate and pathetic. But it wasn't any of those things. It was the most honest I'd been with myself in decades. That's where I met David. He was 69, recently widowed, with kind eyes and hands that gestured wildly when he talked about his stories. Not because I was ashamed, but because I realized he wouldn't understand. It taught me that it's never too late to choose yourself, to demand more from life than just existing. It showed me that love isn't just about commitment and duty. It's about connection and passion and feeling fully alive. He'd see betrayal where I saw awakening. He'd see destruction where I saw reconstruction. Some truths are too big for small lives to contain. He listened when I read my pieces aloud, really listened like my words mattered. It was emotional, spiritual even. Someone touched me like I was precious, like I was desired, like I was worth loving. We talked for hours afterward, sharing dreams we'd never spoken aloud, fears we'd carried alone for years. I felt like I was coming back to life after being dead for so long. For the first time in years, someone wanted me, not just what I could do for them, but me. My thoughts, my body, my heart. My name is Margaret, and for 42 years, I was the perfect wife. Robert and I met when I was 22, fresh out of college with dreams of becoming a writer. We'd been walking by the lake, talking about a story he was writing when it started to rain. We ducked into the lobby of a small hotel, and suddenly we were both quiet, both aware that something had shifted between us. When he asked if I wanted to get a room, I said yes without hesitation. But someday never came, and spent my days in a house that felt more like a museum than a home. Everything was perfectly preserved, perfectly maintained, perfectly empty. Instead, there were 3 children to raise, a house to maintain, a husband who worked longer hours each year and spoke to me less and less. By the time the kids left home, Robert and I had perfected the art of polite coexistence. We'd sit at the dinner table in complete silence, the only sounds being the clinking of silverware and the evening news playing in the background. I tried everything to reconnect with him. I suggested counseling, weekend trips, date nights. His response was always the same. "We're fine, Margaret. We don't need to fix what isn't broken," but I was broken. I was disappearing, becoming invisible even to myself. I'd look in the mirror and see a stranger, a woman who'd spent so many years being what everyone else needed that she'd forgotten who she actually was. The loneliness was suffocating. I'd wake up next to someone who felt like a roommate, go through the motions of conversation over breakfast, then I joined that writing group. For the first time in decades, someone was genuinely interested in my thoughts, my dreams, my perspective on the world. It started innocently enough. The first time he kissed me, I cried, not from guilt, but from relief. I know what you're thinking. I know how this sounds. The hotel room wasn't planned. What happened in that room wasn't just physical, though that part was a revelation too. I stayed the night. Walking into my house the next morning was like entering a tomb. The affair lasted 3 months. I never told Robert. Do I regret it? Not for a second. That affair saved my life in ways I'm still discovering. I'm not advocating for affairs. I'm not saying everyone should cheat on their spouse. At 67, I learned that it's never too late to become who you were meant to be. The woman who walked into that hotel room was dying. The woman who walked out was finally fully alive.